We are live, Madison Square Garden on the floor today. We're going to talk about the Big East tournament. There's a lot to get to. Marquette, UConn. It's going to kill me to talk about it. I'm going to have to do it. We have Greg Waddell and Carter Elliott coming live from Chicago here in just a couple of minutes, and we're also going to break down the bubble. There's a lot to get to. Vanderbilt might have snuck their way into the conversation. But before we do all of that, the most interesting conversation for me, it starts at the top. It starts at the top of the bracket. It starts with the number 1 seeds, Purdue versus UCLA. At this point, I thought that we were kind of getting to a place where UCLA had a real chance, Matt, to get that last number 1 seed. Now they don't have Jalen Clark. Now we don't know what's going to happen with Adam Bona, but that did not look like a good situation. I still think that they have the best chance to improve their resume and jump Purdue because they still play Arizona. But I mean, you got those 2 injuries. Who knows if they can win? Where do you stand on this race for the 1 seeds?
So I had UCLA ahead of Purdue by the narrowest of margins, but if Adem Bona is not available, and we'll see if we even have that information by Selection Sunday, that stuff should matter. In fact, our good buddy Jeff Borzello and I were talking about this earlier tonight because some think that it shouldn't. Ken Pomeroy has actually taken to Twitter recently and said, listen, we don't do this for the NFL playoffs. We don't do it for the conference tournaments. But my deal is what we do with the NCAA tournament and selection is different from all other sports. And if UCLA now will not have 2 of its 6 most important pieces, that would be enough, particularly if Purdue doesn't lose, to say it's going to be on the 2 seed. It's not like we're dropping them multiple seed lines. It is. If anything, it's a tiebreaker, and it has precedent. And I think it's based in a certain amount of logic. If it's really, really close, and you're saying, well, this team now had full strength most of the year. Now that we know that they don't, then I would have Purdue narrowly in the driver's seat. But I will say this. If Purdue loses in the semis on Saturday and we do see UCLA win the auto bid, I actually think we have a pretty compelling case that UCLA has earned it, even though we know that it won't be at full strength going into the bracket.
I agree with the latter. Where do you stand?
My only argument against that or pushback would be, again, we talk about this. If I beat you and you, like, for example, we always talk about quad 1 win. If I beat you at the time you were quad 1, then under that metric, it should stay a quad 1. It shouldn't slide depending on where you are at the moment or what happened to your season. Okay. If we're going to go off of, well, you were healthy then or you're not healthy now. That's my only argument against it.
My thing with it is that I still think UCLA can prove it and earn it, right? Like, we can have this conversation. We can talk in hypotheticals.
Hey guys, just a reminder, our sponsor for today's episode is Run Your Pool. They are hosting the Field of 68 Bracket Challenge. This year, they are giving away $1,500 in free prizes. It's all an incentive for you to get on there and find out just how good their platform is. I've been using them for my bracket pools for years. I've used them for Super Bowl squares. I use them for everything that I need to use them for. The biggest survivor pool that I'm in for both NFL and NCAA tournament is by Run Your Pool. So go check them out. The link's below. Tap in.
But they still play Arizona, right? We saw them beat Arizona at home not 2 weeks ago after they lost Jalen Clark. Now, obviously not having Bona kind of changes things, but if they go out and they beat Arizona down these 2 guys, I think you still give it to them.
There's something to be said for that if they can do it.
Yes.
We're talking about Purdue, and it's not like they're going to have a cakewalk through either. So Purdue wins out.
Well, I mean, look, Purdue's got to play Ohio State, who's now basically the 2016 Warriors. So
we love it.
Yeah,
we need it. We need a little bit of chaos between. I know you guys are going to get to it between what Vandy's now doing, and Ohio State being an outright chaos agent, particularly a terrible team for 2 months. This is good. This is good for college basketball going into the final 48 hours before Selection Sunday. We have a viable debate on the 1 line still. Love that, and you still have bid thieves lurking, or Vandy coming in and maybe pilfering Pitt. Is Pitt in? Oh, here's Fanta. Thank you, sir.
He decided to show up.
Yeah,
John Fanta has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. Those of us on YouTube can see.
Is it time for my party yet? Because I've been waiting for this all week.
All right, Fanta, we're talking about the number 1
I'm
seed,
sorry,
right?
Norlander. I just totally.
It's okay.
Just jumped in.
All
All right, look, you know what? It's not the
It's all
Field
good.
of 68 After Dark anymore. It is John Fanta After Dark, ladies and gentlemen. We can go, right?
Yeah.
Is our show over?
So yeah, go meet Borzello in the press room.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
He bailed.
He's gone.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He
He doesn't do post game press.
All right, Fanta, let me ask you where you stand on this. The talking point was UCLA is not going to have Jalen Clark. They may or may not have Adem Bona. We don't know the answer to that yet. If they don't have those 2, should that knock them down a peg or 2? Do you think that it impacts the way that we should view them in the selection committee's eyes?
Well, it obviously impacts the way that we view them, the way that we view them.
Mhm.
But I don't think that injuries are determining what a team's seed ends up being. A team has worked all season long to get the seed line that they're on. And you don't just take a couple of injuries and then say, we're moving them down because they're more like a 2 or a 3.
That's my argument. Either injuries matter or they don't. And if they matter, then they should matter when you were healthy and I beat you. I expect that to be a quad 1 or whatever it is, or what happened during your season. Your body of work is your body of work.
The only thing with that, RC, is that if you do that, if you play that game and we are 2 weeks into a season and we don't have enough information in on a team, like if a team starts, like Creighton's a great example, preseason top 10 team.
Right.
This isn't a top 10 team in the country right now. So I do I like the way the system is set up. I completely hear your point the whole way, but as we learn more, it becomes more of who you are. But you played the game, and